Hey everyone, my name is Natalina and today's video is going to be a huge review of all of my Charlotte Tilbury products. I believe that I first tried Charlotte Tilbury back in 2017 or something like that, and I've been trying all of her products since, and I believe that I have tried every single product from her line, but some of the products are missing because I either sold them or gifted them, but I will definitely express my opinions on some of her products that are missing today. So what do I have in store for you today? So we're gonna be talking, of course, we're gonna be talking about these viral products. Oh, I have a love-hate relationship with those, especially with the contours. I will talk about that a bit later. I have two cream blushes. They're actually called a blush wand. One is in the shade Pink Pop, the second one is in the shade Dream Pop, and I also do have this highlighter. Those products are incredibly viral on TikTok, but we'll talk about that a bit later. Then I have this cream blush by Charlotte Tilbury. These are not famous whatsoever, and maybe there is a reason behind that. Then I also do have her Radiant Concealer, and I have Airbrush Bronzer in the shade Medium, and it tells you a story. And I think when you see a product which looks like that, you can definitely see that it's a good product. And I can say the same thing about this one right here, but we'll get into that. Be patient. I also have a cream bronzer. I also do have some of her powders and highlighters. Those were loved, used, and abused. And I also do have this airbrush powder. I have one shade of her cream eyeshadows. Also, I do have several palettes, but I will show you this one. It's called Pillow Talk. Everything by Charlotte Tilbury is called Pillow Talk. I mean, it's like a trademark or something because these are called Pillow Talk. There is this iconic shade of a lipstick which is called Pillow Talk. Now there is medium Pillow Talk and deep Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk is all over the place. Oh my, I cannot. And it's a palette of pops. These are 4 shimmers, which are used as a pop of color, sparkle on your eyes. And I have a very basic palette. It's called the Sophisticate. It has 4 mattes. And I also do have these 2 palettes. Those were discontinued at some point, and this palette has been traveling with me since 2017. It's a nice basic palette. And I also do have one of her first longer eye palettes, Instant Eye Palette, and it's just, yeah. It was a good one, but it's also discontinued, but I just wanted to give them an honorable mention. Moving forward to her eyebrow products, I do have a clear gel, a tinted gel, and also an eye pencil. And moving forward to her lip products, I have a lip liner in the shade, you name it, of course, Pillow Talk. I have her iconic Pillow Talk lipstick, and I do have these lip glosses in the shade Pillow Talk and Pillow Talk Deep. I've done several looks using all of these products, so let's take a look at them. And in the second part of the video, I will express my strong opinions about all of this makeup and about the brand in general. I'm starting off my makeup by using a tinted eyebrow gel. Mine comes in the shade Taupe. And then I'm adding some hair strokes with my Valentino brow pencil. Next, I'm diving into the Sophisticate palette to create a crease with the Taupe shade, and I'm really defining my outer V with the darkest shade. I'm going for a halo eye look, so I'm placing the dark brown on the inner and outer corners of my eyes. On the outer V, I'm crafting a wing using this eyeshadow. With a small brush, I'm connecting the upper and lower lids and blending out that wing. The eyeshadows blend beautifully but are a bit sheer, so with darker colors, I like to layer them. Now switching to the luxury palette of pops, I'll be using several shades from this palette, starting with the darkest. I'm applying it along the matte brown and blending towards the center of my eye. Then I'm using this stunning duochrome shade that blends perfectly with the darker color. For the center of my lid, I'm using one of the lightest shades from the palette. Since the eyeshadows are a bit sheer, I build them up by adding more of the matte brown and taupe. To accentuate the waterline, I'm using a brown gel eyeliner from Kylie Cosmetics. I highlight my inner corner and lower lid with the lightest shade from the palette. On my lower lid, I'm adding the matte brown from the Sophisticated palette and a touch of ivory to the inner corner. Eyes are done, and moving to the face. I start with a cream bronzer in the shade 02 Medium, applying and blending it with a sponge. I might have gone a little heavy, so I'm cleaning up under the bronzer with a brush, with a clean, fluffy brush. I decided to contour my nose, which I don't usually do, but I'm trying it out today. And now I'm applying cream blush in Color of Dreams. It has a nice shade, but it's a bit too glowy because of its Vaseline base, and it can melt through the foundation. I'm adding a bit of foundation with a sponge to soften my nose contour and moving on to the highlighter in Pillow Talk. I applied with a fluffy synthetic brush to the highest points of my cheeks, the tip of the nose, and between my eyes. For concealer, I applied under my eyes, on my chin, and forehead, blending with the same sponge, which has quite a bit of product by now. I'm setting my face with Givenchy loose powder. Unfortunately, Charlotte Tilbury doesn't offer a loose powder just yet. I'm baking my face and adding some powder to my cheeks to set the blush and bronzer. I use a bit of Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder on my brow bone to blend my shadows further and brighten my under eye area. And I'm applying highlighter to the highest points of my cheeks. I'm not a huge fan of this one because of its white base. I also add some to the inner corners of my eyes, and then I set my face with Fix Plus spray by MAC. I line my lips with Natasha Denona lip liner in the shade Leon 2.5. It's one of my faves, and I finish with Charlotte Tilbury lip gloss in Pillow Talk Deep. And there you go, my makeup is complete. Let's check it out in the soft light. It looks amazing. I just love how elegant it feels. And now let's see it in a harsh light to really make those sparkles pop. Here I just wanted to show you how the Magic Wand blush from Charlotte Tilbury works. It's in the shade Pillow Talk, as you could have guessed, and it looks nice, but a bit too light for me in my opinion. I'm starting this makeup look with my eyebrows using a Charlotte Tilbury eyebrow pencil. It comes in the shade Soft Brown. I sketch out my brows and then I fill them in, starting with the tails. Let's bronze my face, shall we? I'm adding bronzer in the shade Medium. It's Fair Medium, and blending it out with a fluffy synthetic brush. I got a bit carried away and added too much, so I decided to use the underpainting technique. And I'm also applying the same bronzer to the side of my face, and it works best under foundation anyways. I decided to try the darker shade Medium Deep. It's not very deep, but let's see the difference. The deeper shade is a bit more pigmented, but when blended and applied sparingly, it's quite similar. On the other side of my face, I'm blending out the shade Medium Deep. At some point, my camera stopped, so I didn't film applying the matte blush wand in Dream Pop, unfortunately. Anyway, here it is. As mentioned, I went for the underpainting technique, and now I'm applying my foundation to the areas with no makeup, blending out all the cream, bronzer, and blush. I felt the blush wasn't enough, so I added a bit more. Then I'm using concealer, applying it in a triangle under my eyes, and blending it with a fluffy synthetic brush. I layer and blend the blush further. Now I'm setting my brows with clear eyebrow gel by Charlotte Tilbury, of course, placing the hairs where I want them. I add a bit of translucent pressed setting powder. I'm not like the biggest fan because it's thin and might accentuate pores, texture, or peach fuzz. It's not the best for me. Next, I'm using one of my favorite products. I've hit pan on it, applying it over the powder and previous cream bronzer and contour. It's a pressed bronzer in the shade Medium. I also add some highlighter with a fluffy brush for light coverage of sparkle. Moving to the eyes, I used two shades from the Sophisticate palette, blending my crease and creating a smoky outer V. Now I'm using a cream eyeshadow in chocolate bronze. I love this timeless shade. I apply it to the lower and upper lids and accentuate my waterline with a brown gel eyeliner, blending it into my lash line. Next, I used the luxury palette of Pops, applying the darkest shade with a red undertone. It changes the look a bit, but anyways. I highlight the eyes inner corners with a light shade from the palette, and then I apply a duochrome shade to the lower lid. And back to Sophisticate palette, I smudge my waterline with the darkest shade and smoke it out with the taupe shade. I use YSL mascara and I add a bit of pressed powder because my face has gotten oily at that point. Again, I line my lips with Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk lip liner and I apply lipstick in the same shade. It looks natural and demure and very mindful and a bit cutesy. I finish with Pillow Talk lip gloss. This makeup look is done. Check it out in the soft light and then in harsh light just to see the difference because those are two very different lighting situations. Okay, moving on to my next look. I'm grabbing the bronzer from the Film Starter Bronze Palette by Charlotte Tilbury. I absolutely adore this palette, seriously. I've hit pan on that bronzer. I'm using it to contour my face and even applying it to my lids, forehead, and chin. It's such a versatile product. I love this. I believe I finished around 3 or 4 of these palettes. Now I'm going in with a highlighter from the same palette. It's super sheer and I haven't used it much. Like, sorry Charlotte, but I'm giving it a shot today. I'm blending everything out with a pressed powder in shade number 2, just softening the edges of the bronzer and highlighter. To brighten up my under eyes, I'm using the first shade in the pressed powder. I also add a touch of bronzer to the tip of my nose and between my eyes for that like extra glow. And of course, I'm highlighting the inner corners of my eyes with the same highlighter. Next, I'm creating a winged eyeliner using the darkest shade from the Sophisticated palette. I'm blending it on the upper lid and connecting it with the lower lid for a seamless look. And to add some sparkle, I'm using a light pink shade with the silver sparkles right in the center of my lids. And then I'm accentuating my crease with a taupe shade from the palette. For some extra shimmer, I'm pulling in the luxury palette of Pops. It's gorgeous. And to set everything, I'm misting my face with MAC Fix Plus Spray. For my lips, I'm using Natasha Denona lip pencil in the shade Lian 2.5, followed by a little bit of the Pillow Talk Deep Lip Gloss. I'm also adding the Dream Pop blush to the center of my lips for that perfect pop of color. And just like that, my look is complete. But hold on, let's check it after 8 hours. And I'm sorry, but I need to touch up. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder to absorb some of the oils on my face, and it doesn't hold up perfectly, but it definitely helps. And I also decided to add a bit of more blush to my lips because, let's be real, you can never have too much blush. Where do we start? Let's start with face products. I've tried all of her foundations and I must tell you that her shade range, it's a good shade range. I mean, they have very deep shades, they also have very light shades, but I find it with all of the brands which target the American market, the US market specifically, that they do tons of really orangey shades, or their yellow shades are not neutral. They're so yellow. They have this weird green tint to it. You don't see this in European brands like Dior, YSL, I don't know, Lancome, but I always see these weird undertones in the American brands. Charlotte Tilbury isn't American based or American brand, but I feel like this brand is targeted towards the US public, and maybe it's because of that. And I find it very difficult for myself to guess my shade online, and I don't have any problems whatsoever with guessing my shade online when I'm buying some of the European brands. I didn't like her 4-filter foundation, or what is it called, like the very light one, because skin tint, it's so dewy. It's just a personal preference, and it works perfectly on supermodels, but yes, supermodel here is a bit retired. So let's talk about these products. Oof, I have a hate-love relationship with these, and once several years ago, maybe even like 4 or 5 years ago, it was the first time when I bought this product. I hated it at that time just because it has this strange applicator. I know it's so viral and so many people just love this product. There are some days when I'm in love with this product, but there are also some days when I hate it because it has a weird gel-like texture and it tends to break up your foundation. It just stays there, and sometimes it's very difficult to blend it into your foundation just because it creates patches on your skin when you try to like put it onto your foundation. Oh my god, and don't get me started on the mess these products are. Oh no, I mean, what is this? And it's closed, and I have to clean it thoroughly each time after each use, which seems like a lot of work, I must admit. And I can clean out every single inch, every single millimeter of this product. But as soon as you put the cap on, it's dirty again. And it's the case with all. And if you are unlucky, or I don't know, or just tired or whatever, and you forget to close it, and you accidentally press on the tube, and you're gonna end up with a massive ejaculation of the product. Oh, what is happening here? It's just, I don't like this applicator, not only here, but also in this blush by Pillowies, because I mean, it creates the same mess. Sometimes it blends out beautifully, and I especially like it for underpainting. Other than that, you always have to try this product with your foundation, because it doesn't work with all of the foundations. It doesn't work with the foundations with a matte finish, or even natural matte finish, or like satin matte finish, something like that. It only works with dewy foundations, with really creamy foundations, because it kind of blends in with the foundation. You can mix a little bit of your concealer or your foundation into this product, and it's better to apply it to the back of your hand or to your palette, and then apply it with a fluffy brush. But when you try to apply it directly, usually it creates a mess. It melts through your foundation, and you have to be quick in order to use these products. The same goes for the blushes. I'm in love with this shade, with the Dream Pop. It's so beautiful, it looks so natural. I'm in love, but I do prefer these products for underpainting. It looks better, it looks more blended. This particular look, you've seen that it was patchy in some places, and my skin was well moisturized. I'm not the biggest fan of this product, but I still do like them. Especially I like this one, but because of this particular shade. And I do enjoy this product when I mix just a tiny bit of foundation or my concealer into this, and it creates a creamier texture, which is easier to apply. So it's a really good life hack. Feel free to use it. Now let's talk about this highlighter. This one isn't that bad. Those are not bad. They're just a bit weird. You have to put some work, some mental exercise through mix and matching. So let's talk about this product. You don't have to blend this a lot, and maybe because of that it doesn't disturb your foundation whatsoever. I do like this one. It's in the shade, let me guess, Pillow Talk. Is here something that isn't called Pillow Talk? Oh god, it's a bit ridiculous, because the line is called Pillow Talk, the shade is called Pillow Talk. It's her signature name, I guess. The nice thing about these products is that they set. They don't get as long lasting as a matte lipstick, for example, but they do definitely set. You cannot continuously move those around your face. At some point they will just stick. The shade is so pretty. It's just this nice champagne color. I'm living for that, but it's better to apply it in a very thin layer. It doesn't have completely transparent base, but still, it's a pretty one. Now, moving forward to this cream blush, it's in the shade, no, it's, the line is called Pillow Talk, but the shade is called Color of Dreams. I have no idea what was Charlotte Tilbury dreaming about, but I mean, when blended, it looks nice. It looks really fresh, but it's so creamy, and it's not gel-like, but it looks like water. No, not like water. It looks like a lip gloss. It might be a very nice blush for glass skin effect, but once applied to any type of skin with texture, with pores, with peach fuzz, it definitely will accentuate those nuances, maybe for some beauty photo shoots, but I don't know, in real life I don't like it because it has this Vaseline-like texture, not like a normal cream bronzer or blush would, but it really feels like Vaseline. This will look amazing in professional beauty photo shoots. Moving forward to this cream bronzer, it's a nice product. It has a mousse texture. It's not that creamy, it's not that wet Let me show you the difference between these two textures for you, just to get an idea what I'm talking about. Can you see that this one is more matte and creamier, and this one looks like straight up tinted Vaseline, which isn't a bad thing, but still, I do like this texture. I'm not the biggest fan of this design. I prefer something like that. It looks more beautiful to me. I'm not the biggest fan of this product just because it's way too orangey on me, and it's in the shade medium, and I bought the shade medium just because this bronzer, it's a perfect match for me. But I do prefer my bronzers on the not orangier side, but on the warmer side. And I don't know if you can tell the difference. For whatever reason, I imagined that the shades matched, but they didn't. I don't know, it's just not the best. Packaging wise, Charlotte Tilbury is one of my favorite brands, I must admit, because this rose gold, it just has me in chokehold. I'm in love with this. Okay, moving forward to one of my favorite bronzers of all times. It's huge, it's beautiful, the texture is amazing, it's not that pigmented. I hate pigmented bronzers. This one is finely melted. It has medium pigmentation, I would say. You can definitely build it up, or you can keep it minimal. It looks so beautiful. I love this bronzer. And to prove my point, I must show you that I've got the second one of this exact product. You can buy refills, but mine looks so sad because my second refill, is it? I don't remember actually. And I got the second one because I was too scared to touch this. When you get to some point, unfortunately, it breaks. So this is what happened to these powders right here. These are finishing powders. It's better to apply them after setting your makeup. So I usually tend to set my makeup with any translucent powder, not any. This powder by Givenchy, where my favorite translucent loose powder is the one and only by Laura Mercier. So this type of powders you can use to brighten up your under eye, for example, or to erase your pores. It doesn't get rid of like 100% of your pores, and I would say that this powder in this aspect works better than these finishing powders, but it creates this airbrushed finish. I do really like these powders, but don't use them to set your makeup, because setting your makeup, I mean wet foundation, to set it with a pressed powder, it might start looking a bit cakey. I'm not the biggest fan of doing that, but I do love these powders, and for a professional makeup artist, it's a must. Then let's talk about, oh no, poor baby, what happened to you? You happened to her. So I'm not the biggest fan of this design either. These are very strange design choices personally to me. I'm not the biggest fan of this powder. I don't like it at all. But it's a weird concept to me. I hate white, finely melt pressed powders. I don't like this one. I don't like the one by Fenty Beauty. I do always prefer these powders because these are, I mean loose powders, because those are thinner, they apply better, and pressed powders tend to look heavier on your face if you set your makeup with those. This powder is intended for setting your makeup, but I just don't like it because it seems like it had a bit of shimmer to it, so it's kind of reflective, and I don't like this in the center of my face. And I don't like this in the center of my face. I had to reset my face using a translucent powder because I just simply didn't like the finish of this, because it didn't mattify the center of my face. It's nice for setting your under eyes if your under eyes are on the drier side, because it creates this illusion of airbrushed skin. I don't know. I know that many makeup artists do like this powder. It's so thin, it's so finely melted. I can see supermodels or people with perfect skin who prefer this clean girl aesthetic using this one just to airbrush your skin further. But if you want a really nice finely melted powder, it's better to choose Hourglass one, because it's the OG polishing powder. I'm talking about this product right here. They're so different. It's better to apply Hourglass on the sides of your face. This one you can apply anywhere. So I don't like it. Let's leave it at that. Now moving forward to this concealer. This comes in the shade 7 medium. Does this look medium to you? I'm not so sure. Looks also very yellow. I'm okay with this consistency. I do like the design, but I'm not the biggest fan of this shade, this particular shade. I feel like for a medium, it's too light and it's too yellow. It looks like light yellow to me. I do truly love this texture, and maybe if I were going to some magical place where they had a Charlotte Tilbury shop, maybe I would consider buying a different shade. Moving forward to the highlighter, it's called no pillow talk for you and for me, Hollywood Moonlit Glow. I don't like this highlighter. It's so dated. The texture, I mean, the finish, it has this nearly white base and it looks silvery. It looks so different on your skin because it's straight up silver. I must admit that I like the look on my skin today, but it's just because I was using a very fluffy brush and I added the tiniest bit of highlighter. So no highlighter for me. In general, I don't like Charlotte Tilbury's highlighters, her pressed versions. Let's talk about this palette. It's an iconic palette. OMG. It's called Film Star Bronze and Glow. I believe they have two shades, but this one comes in the shade light medium. It's an amazing bronzer, and this one is horrible. This one also is so dated. It kind of looks matte. It doesn't look good whatsoever. Where is the shine? It's my fifth or fourth palette, I believe, and I don't use this highlighter at all. Like, no, 0%. This texture and this shade is so different from this texture, unfortunately, and I love this product. This one is so good for my skin shade. It's amazing. I love the texture because it's not pigmented. You can build up your coverage, your pigmentation. Just want this bronzer in this particular shade, in this particular formula, but a huge one. So I'm paying a price of a palette of two products just to get this one, and I don't care. I will continue doing so because this one is amazing. It's one of the best bronzers on the market internationally. Now for the brow line. Here I have this eyebrow pencil. It comes in the shades of brown, I believe. I love this shade so freaking much. Honey blonde hair, it's amazing. But texture wise, there is nothing special about this pencil. It's not that tiny, it's not that huge. I don't know, it's just a very good eyebrow pencil, but I'm living for this shade because it's very difficult to find a perfect match for my warm hair. Now this eyebrow gel, it was expensive, and because of that I was using this all the time. There's again nothing special about this eyebrow gel. It holds your brows in place, but I mean there are tons of affordable brow gels on the market. It's definitely not a product that you should invest in, and this is the first product by Charlotte Tilbury where the letters are peeling. It's so weird. I don't know why the quality on this isn't that great. It's really bad. I have never ever seen anything like that on other Charlotte Tilbury's products, and I've been using those for years. So unfortunately I cannot recommend this product. This one, I simply don't like using tinted eyebrow gels just because it creates a lot of mess, but I can see some people with very light eyebrows in order for these people to get their eyebrows darker, but it doesn't set your brows in place because it just, I don't know, it just tints your eyebrows. And I don't have that many hairs on my eyebrow tail, so I have to use either an ink pen or a pencil or something like that. So it's a bit useless for me. What I do sometimes just to use this product, I do apply it, then I wait for a couple of minutes, and then I apply a clear gel over it just to set my eyebrows in place, but then I have to go in again using an eyebrow pencil. So no, it's just not worth the hassle for me. Let's talk a bit about the eye products. This cream eyeshadow, oh my god, how many of this have I used during my life because 5-6 years ago these eyeshadows, they were so trendy. Every single bride wanted those on her eyes. The shades are amazing. Tom Ford has a very similar formula, and Charlotte Tilbury used to work at Tom Ford, so many of her products, not many, but eyeshadows, cream eyeshadows, they are definitely very similar to Tom Ford's one. And I believe if we count the prices and compare Charlotte Tilbury's and Tom Ford's products, and we'll take a look at the price per gram, Tom Ford's products might be actually cheaper because, for example, here in the eyeshadows you only get 5.2 grams. Can you believe that? It's 0.18 ounces. It's so little product. This product is amazing to create an everyday smoky eye, a very bronzy one, a very sultry one. But I mean, these eyeshadows, they don't set, so you have to apply some shimmers over it or some matte eyeshadows, and it's nice. But again, it's not that special anymore, unfortunately, and you definitely have to set these eyeshadows. You can definitely use them as an eyeshadow base. Now, moving forward to these eye palettes. This one, it's a very basic palette. It kind of reminds me of Mink Mirage or Cocoa Mirage by Tom Ford, which were discontinued. I believe it's a crime against the humanity. It's just, yeah, Mink Mirage is so freaking good because it has an ivory shade, a very neutral beige shade, a dark brown, and a black shade. People selling those eyeshadow palettes for $300 on eBay. It's insane, but those palettes were so good. But I believe they weren't for everyone. But brands don't usually discontinue popular products, and I'm talking about like the general demand. Maybe some people do love those products, or maybe some people in the beauty community, but I mean, yeah, it's a shame, and I'm so sad about that. That palette was perfect, and if you were, for example, an aspiring makeup artist, it was the palette to go for because it had tons of product. It had 10 grams of product, where this palette has only 5.2, and it blended amazingly. You couldn't, even if you wanted, you couldn't create any patches or any mistakes on the eyes. I mean, no, it's not a Tom Ford review, but still, these eyeshadows are very similar to those. But I would love this shade to be a bit darker because very neutral basic palette in a good way, but I think this shade should be a bit darker. I like the fact that they have a very neutral and a very cool toned shade, because for American palettes it's never the case. Those palettes, they never have any grayish or cooler undertones. Everything is straight up orange. I cannot do this thing with my fingers even if my life depended on that. So I do truly like this palette despite the fact that it's only 5 grams. Oh god, but I would have preferred, of course, Mink Mirage by Tom Ford, but that page is not available anymore. So this one, I think this one, it's a good palette for a working makeup artist. It has a very little product, but these eyeshadows, they're amazing, they blend amazing, and there are no problems with those whatsoever. This palette is also a perfect palette if you work with, especially with brides, with American brides, I would say, because all of the shades are, they're not orangey, but they are on the warmer side. All of the shades are elegant and a bit interesting in a way that they're not straight up, I don't know, brown, bronze, something like that. This one, for example, it has purple sparkles, pink, golden ones. All of these shades are kind of multi-chromy. It's not a very trendy look or something like that, but I feel like this one fits a clean girl aesthetic perfectly, because you can apply any of these colors just all over your lid, apply some mascara, and you'll be good to go. And it looks way better in real life than it looks on camera, unfortunately, because camera just doesn't pick up on all of those different undertones of these sparkles. Now let's talk a little bit about her lip products. Here is the eye pencil in the iconic shade Pillow Talk. Back in 2017, this was the most iconic, the most well-known lip pencil and the most well-known shade, but nowadays, I don't know, is it still popular? I'm not sure about that. I'm not the biggest fan. I do like it, of course, because it's so neutral. It looks like my lips, to be honest. I think it looks kind of like my lips, so I can overline without other people noticing, but maybe I'm just a bit delulu. So I'm not the biggest fan of the texture. I prefer creamier lip pencils like the Natasha Denona one or like Kylie one, but the shades in Charlotte Tilbury's range are amazing. It's just not my favorite. I was the biggest fan of the shade Kim at that time, like many years ago. I'm not sure if she has it in stock still, but this one, it's a very basic combination for your everyday life, but I think there are tons of dupes because the product itself, the formula, it's not that unique. Like if we're talking about Tom Ford lipsticks, which are so freaking expensive, but that formula by Tom Ford is unique because it's so creamy. It creates the most amazing luscious lips. This one doesn't do that. It looks nice. I mean, the design of Charlotte Tilbury, her aesthetic of the brand, it's one of my favorite brands of all times. But I mean, this is very basic. If you have the money for it and if you enjoy this shade, yeah, why not? Or if you are a very basic kind of person and you just need something for your everyday life, this might be it. And now moving forward to these lip glosses. This one comes in the shade Pillow Talk, and this one, can you guess it? It comes in the Pillow Talk Deep. Now there are different Pillow Talks. I think Charlotte Tilbury wanted to create a perfect nude for every skin color, for every skin shade, and this one, it looks amazing because these brownie-like lip gloss are so trendy right now. It looks amazing. The thing that I don't like about this product is the camel toe applicator. It's so stiff just to begin with, and it also is a bit scratchy. It's just weird. When I apply a darker lip liner, then do different shades of my lipstick, for example, a darker one in the corners and a lighter one in the center, and then you try to apply some of the lip gloss, it just doesn't pull out enough of the product, and you just end up mixing everything on your lips. So it's not the best applicator. It looks weird, it feels weird, it doesn't apply well. I love the product and I used to hate it, and not because of the color but because it tingles your lips. So it's has this weird feeling like lip plumpers have, but it doesn't plump your I hate lip plumpers. I don't like this minty feeling on my lips. I used to have tons of photo shoots and my makeup artist would always try to put this lip gloss on me because it looked amazing, and I was hating it. I was asking her to stop because I didn't like this feeling on my lips, but it kind of grew on me, and now I can tell you that I do like these products. Are those the best lip glosses in the whole world? No, there are tons of dupes. So that's it. Let me know in the comments below if you are familiar with the Charlotte Tilbury brand, if you like it, what do you like, have you ever tried something, share your experience with us. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!